Log into gyroscopeme.com, the hottest online radio station in the world. GS Radio all day, all night, worldwide. Powered by Gyroscope Media Group, LLC.
GS Radio, the best internet radio station worldwide. Providing the best in music and talk shows. Go to www.gsradionj.com and check out the best internet station in the world. You're listening to GS Radio, internet radio station powered by GMG, LLC.
Beginning there was Jack, and Jack had a groove. And after a while, a deep sleep fell upon him, and he went looking for a new groove. He began looking for a new nation, and it had to be a soulful nation. And he found it, and it was Soulful House Nation. And he saw a building. It was a tall building. It had 10 stories, and he entered the building and got on the elevator and pushed the 10th floor, but it stopped on the 8th floor. And that's where he found his new groove. And he began to jack and jack and jack and jack. And he knew that this was it. It was Soulful House Nation on the 8th floor. Get ready, get ready, get ready.
Get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, I am DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation, coming to you live from the 8th floor. I am the unusual suspect. I'm here with my co-host here, Annette. We're gonna come up with something too. I think going to be interesting a little bit down the road. And of course, we have our special guest. Just a quick, what we're gonna do here. Quick recap. We're going to play the hottest song according to Track Source. This week, and then we're going to talk about what's coming and this week's classic. We're going to talk a little news, and then we're going to go into it, our interview with our special guest, DJ Soulfingers. Just in case you didn't catch it, go back last week. Our special guest was DJ Truth. That was another great interview. We got some crazy stuff lined up for you. It's so good. So listen, chat, I want you to play a little snippet of the number one song according to Track Source this week in the Soulful House category. But before we start, I just want to give a big shout out to Chuck Roberts, rest in peace, who does our opening vocal drop. Then also to King T Finesse and Ariel Shante, who does our theme song. And then just to let you know, I'm going to name the places I can think of off the top of my head, but we're all over the place. We're on, of course, Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on, YouTube. We're on Vimeo. We're on X. We're on Twitch. We're on the website. We're on a whole bunch of places. And I just want to say thank you for all the views. We're getting to 2,500 to 3,000 live views a week. So thank you very much for that. Now, what I'm going to do is going to play the number one song according to Track Source. It's by Ben West Beach, RAHH, Crackazat, and Glitterbox, and it's called Do Me Right. We're just going to play a little snippet because it's a nasty, nasty little habit of shutting us down and muting us out. So, Chuck? That's a very, very hot song. It's by Ben West Beach, RAHH, maybe pronounced Ra, Crackazat, Glitterbox, called Do Me Right. Hey, here's some updates. First of all, there's no real way to go into this week without mentioning Alice Jenkins, AJ's party this weekend at the Cricket Club. It was her 70th birthday. However, I'm going to expose her right now. I said to her all the time, I said, stop playing. You know, good and well, you're not 70 years old. But she claims 70 years old, so we're gonna go with the flow. We're gonna go with the flow. But she was absolutely stunning. The crowd was great. We had a nice crowd. The DJs were off the hook. When I got there, Sean the T was playing. Then also after that, DJ Nubian got on, and then DJ Zion. So it was like, I don't even have to tell you what the music was like. The sound system was cranking. That was C-Phase. Big shout out to Mel Cherry, and you know, for bringing that sound, and they were doing their thing. Everybody you could think of who was able to be there was there. The food was great. There was a lady by the name, her name was Stephanie. I told her, don't worry. I said, if you need help, I'll help you with the food. You can cook for me anytime. In addition to that, they had a cake. For all of you who out there who know, I don't eat chocolate cake, but I like cake. I love cake. Now, should I eat as much as I do? Absolutely not. But I forgave myself for doing it. I mean, tremendous. The environment was great. Then she had the photo booth going, and then she had this I'm going to say this glass enclosure where you could take pictures. It really, 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 really was really good. And you know, it just had a great, great time. So thank you for that. I'm glad I made the list. A couple other things that you should be aware of. Okay, so there's other events coming up on June 1st. I know, no, I'm sorry. Not June 1st. You know, I don't have the exact date. I had the date here. And then I put it down. I left it with my important papers. I grabbed everything off my desk. Or I thought I did. Anyway, but I just want to let you know that they're going to do the block party thing. It's going to be it's going to be in May, and I'll come back, double back with the date on it. But also too, you know, Chris Nelson does this thing, Citizens. You know, in Elizabeth, he does that. As a matter of fact, I ran into Linda Rosario, who was telling me about it. I'm going to get some more information on it, but I just want to make you aware that this is coming. It's going to be a big month next month. And then, too, I ran into Sultan, SMB, and he's going to be doing a cruise. And the cruise is going to be a 7-night cruise. By the way, if you're going to go on a cruise, 5 days is never enough, in my opinion. It's by the time you get on, it's time to get off. So it's a 7-night cruise. I'm going to leave right out of Bayonne. So you can have somebody drop you off. You don't have to fly anywhere. You can leave right from there, which would be really good for the average person. And then they're going to go to a lot of different places, Cape Canaveral, Orlando. It's going to be, listen, they're going to the Bahamas. It's just going to be a great, great event. And it's going to be aboard the Symphony of the Seas. So it's going to be like that. It's going to be from August 31st to September 7th. And then you have cruise packages, includes the SMB private events and pre-cruise party. So you've got different ways you can do this. You got the interior, you got the central view balcony, got the ocean view balcony. There's a $250 non-refundable deposit, and you get a single, double, triple rates and deposits per person. And then the final payment is due on June 1st. So that's a cruise that could be pretty interesting, especially for those of you who are into house music. Okay, I just want to say a couple things about, there's some music, too, that you need to be aware of. Zaylin, who we had as a guest previously, has a new track out called Circle. We're going to play it a little bit later in Shazam Free Zone. Then you got Vanessa L. Smith, and she's got a new track that she did with Precious James, a lady out of Nigeria. It's called Whenever. We're going to play that. And King T Finesse, who's the person who did my theme song, has got a track with Moon Blue, and it's called Paradise. So it's going to be like that. And then plus we're going to play some other stuff in the Shazam Free Zone, nothing but brand new music. And do I know the hits? Of course I know the hits. But here's an opportunity to hear the new stuff before it hits out. I'm not going to say any names, but I got to tell you, quite a few of the songs that we played here first, a little bit later on, you started to hear them in the club. So that's all good stuff. So listen, Chuck, let's do this. Let's just play our old school track of the moment, of the week, and we're gonna play that, and then we're gonna be getting into the moment we've all been waiting for. DJ Soulfingers. So Chuck, this is Louis Vega, French Kiss. Alright, we're gonna fade it out. We're gonna fade it out because Facebook is this nasty, nasty little habit of shutting us down and muting us out. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, can we bring up our special guest, DJ Soulfingers?
Hello.
Well, listen, before
that was a fancy hand clap there, Don.
Oh yeah, that's the when you work for people on the other side of the tracks. When you do the song called Grease.
Right.
There's a.
Oh wow, that's it.
Anyway, so that's that is.
Okay.
Well, listen. Here's what I want to say before we get started. So Soulfingers has no reason to remember me from where I first met him. And he was very nice to me. I was walking around with a severe problem of damn who. Anyway, but I met him, okay. And this is going back at least, I say 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And there was at the, was it the A Hotel or something like that? Down in, I guess maybe that's Woodbridge or wherever that was.
Okay.
And it was a spot for a while. I think it was one of the parties there, and you DJ'd. And
okay.
I was feeling your flow. And I said, let me go introduce myself. And this is many moons ago. Of course, you were very nice, and I always watched and held it. Now, I just want to say one other thing before we get started. So you know the song, Talk to God About It. Let me tell you what. Nobody, I'm going to say it one more time just in case you didn't hear me. Right. Nobody can play that track like Soulfingers does.
There's a story behind that.
Okay.
Behind that.
Okay. Well, you know what? Before we get started, just tell us the story behind that, and then we'll get on to the regular stuff.
What was the question? Like, who am I?
No. I was telling you about the song. Talk to God about it. I said nobody could play that track the way you play it.
Right. Talk to God.
You said there's a story behind it. So tell us the story, and then we'll get on with our
Okay,
regular questions.
it's a quick story.
That's
So,
okay. We got time.
quick story, and it's pretty has a nice ending, right? So, of course, I don't even know where I heard that song at. I think the first time I really played it years ago was at Ricky Clark's Jersey City, one of his events, right?
I remember.
Right, and one of my brothers, Jay Perez, the dancer, I think you know Jay. Jay recorded it, right? Right? And he said, "Yo, Soulfingers, I got it. That's a hot song." Blah 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 blah. Weeks goes by, months goes by. Jay said the thing is up to 10,000, 20,000 hits. I'm like, what? What? I'm like, wow. So here's the interesting point. The thing must have took off, right? That video, because I'm very animated playing the song. Talk to God. I get a call from Fred Hammond.
Oh, wow.
The gospel guy.
Yeah.
Right. He introduced himself. I'm like, oh, wow. He said, I need you to start up for me.
Oh, okay.
At one of my concerts. I like that energy. And it'll work perfect.
Okay.
So the church and the pastors that time, they arranged a big old outside event down in Virginia. And I was able, I didn't even play that song, but just playing some gospel house for the legendary, Fred Hammond was amazing.
Wow.
Oh, just off of that.
Wow. Well, I gotta tell you, here I am. I don't know, a few years later, because that's the first time I saw it when I guess when Jay went live with it, and you did that song, and I said, "Oh my goodness!" I mean, like the song was good, but I gotta tell you, his performance on that song, next level. And like I say, to this day, that's why when I put up the reel, I put up that song, because that song, forget about it. You gotta see him. Anyway. So listen.
Yeah, just a quick note on that. That was good.
Yeah. Well, let's start off with the easy stuff. Just tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. If you don't know me, I'm DJ Soulfingers, right? Born and raised in Newark. Raised a good part of my early years in Linden. So that's where my association to Linden is. But we was born in Newark, went to school in Newark. Okay. Graduated from Science High. This is where the techie part comes in, right? Okay. So I graduated from Science High, right? And it all kind of blends together, because during that time when I was at Science, I was around a lot of the names that I'm about to say that we went to school and we were all young at that time. We'll see why all this music thing comes together. So I went to Science. So Kevin Hedge went to Science.
Okay.
So Kevin's is a little older than me. He must have been a junior. I might have been a freshman, but even back then, Kevin was heavy on music. Before the whole Blaze thing, the whole thing, he used to school us. We used to cut school. We used to go to his house. We used to play music, this, that, and another, right? So you had Charles, the problem child Dickinson.
Okay.
Right? You had Tony Motley.
Oh, wow.
We were all youngins in Science High, right? We had one of my best friends, T. Alfred, who runs the Funky Child Productions out of Philly. We were all young back then, that enjoyed music and stuff, and that kind of got us through all of those hard science classes that we had. They had music to get us through it.
I got you.
So I'm a graduate of Science High, and I went on to NJIT. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in computer science.
Okay.
And I work currently today for 31 years for UPS, and I'm one of the lead managers for UPS.com.
Okay. Well, Okay.
See, people don't know that side.
See,
they think I DJ for 24 hours a day, but
Well, you know what's interesting that I found, and one day I got to do something on it. I don't know if it's a show, whether it's a column, whether I don't know, but most of us have we love this life, but most of us have something else that we do, whether it's a different type of work, whether
Right.
it's we have a life that we'll put it this way. Most of us have a life that we live outside of the music, and the music is what brings us together. But we do
Correct.
have other things going on, so it's pretty interesting. So
correct.
now,
Yeah. So music's been kind of around me forever, man. You know,
Gotcha.
it's through high school, and it's kind of leading to some of the other questions. You know, I was kind of exposed to like dance music because my uncle was friends with Larry Patterson, who happens to
okay.
be one of the DJs at Zanzibar. But I was too young to get in. But when I used to go see my uncle, he used to play music. He used to mix music, and I'm like, "Yo, this is hot. You know, this is hot." And then that kind of branched me into liking to DJ and get into this whole dance scene.
Now,
Right.
okay, so, well, you started mentioning it. How about some of your earlier influences? You mentioned your uncle. How about anybody besides family? And you mentioned Kevin Hedge, your uncle. Were there any? Okay, Larry. Well, you did kind of mention kind of a lot of people. So, all
Well,
right.
those was during my early days, right? You're talking about high school. You know, you're talking about pre-high school with my uncle. You know, that got me into college. You know, DJing the college parties. That's why I met Vernon. That right,
Okay. Vernon Freeland?
Vernon was in Rutgers when I was at NJIT. You know, he was doing all the big parties. So you know, in this whole venture that I met so many people in their beginning stages, and it's beautiful to see that we're all still here together, still playing music, doing music. You know, it's amazing. You know how we took this path.
Hey, and now why don't you jump in? Yeah. I said, Nat, why don't you jump in?
Oh, thank you. Soulfingers, I have a question for you.
Yes. Question.
When you hear the crowd jeering and cheering,
Oh yes,
let you know that you're on fire. Not fire, on fire.
yes. Instant feedback. Yes. Love it.
And does that keep
It's
going?
not good. I think that's that's like, it's like feedback that you're on the right track. You know, you got the crowd. So,
What kind of
I
feeling
love-
do you get?
what was that? I'm sorry.
What kind of feeling do you get when that happens?
I get a rush. Like, okay, let's keep this party going. Let's keep these people happy. Because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, as much as we love it, we're still service providers, right? We get up there, we play music. People expect you to make them dance and take their minds off of whatever crazy stuff went through this week, and put them in a crazy good spirit. So when you get feedback from them on the dance floor, you accomplishing something. You know what I'm saying? So I get a rush. Like, I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's see where it is. I mean, it's, every DJ loves that.
Yes.
At the same token, I have been at the point where you clear the dance floor, right? Let's take the negative part, right? Where you think you got them, and then they couldn't. You like, oh damn, So over the years, you learn, and you know how to read a crowd, and you know how to introduce new music, bring in old music, play favorite music. It's all part of the experience. But at the end of the day, having people walk away with a good musical experience of what you played is the ultimate.
Oh, absolutely.
You mentioned that your uncle introduced you
Yeah,
to the house music scene.
right. Well, to the dance scene in most, yep.
Okay. When did you start thinking about DJing? on the side as an extracurricular activity?
It was like things. If I remember correctly, things kind of happened, naturally. So he introduced it to me. I had the interest to learn. So of course, I'm blessed with great parents, right? Great parents, Of course, Christmas. What was under the Christmas tree? Two turntables and a mixer. I was like, okay, this thing is going to pop off now. So my wife's mother knew that, okay, we could get him into this DJ thing, keep him off the streets, he'll be close to home, Little does she know, it made me go more into the street. That's a different story, but she had the right idea. She knew that I liked it, kept me home, work on the art, and do the thing that I like at the time.
It's good when we do something that we like.
Exactly.
No one likes anything they don't like.
Right, and not just use that, like I said, through high school. I was playing back then. I played in college, after college, into the, and it just flowed naturally for me, and that had a lot to do with, my skills got better, basically. Yeah.
I understand that you played at Tipsy's.
Oh, Tipsy's! Oh,
for Tipsy's. You remember?
That's my. Tipsy's one of the spots, yeah. Tipsy's.
Look, smile. I have great memories of Tipsy's also.
Yeah, Tipsy's. That was I was a resident there, right? It didn't start like it started. The people that's there, like my boy Khalif, we all grew up. He was one of the owners there. He brought me there, kind of like, hey. They didn't even have a real DJ there. They was like, hey, just come in, play a little bit, and then it just turned into this every week phenomenon that we have in history.
It was fabulous.
Right, it was. That was a great time. I'm waiting for the Tipsy reunion. I'm waiting for the reunion coming.
Yes. Dan?
Yeah. Now, how did you get the name?
Oh.
But before I ask you that, you've been around from the door. Now, how did you get? Because here's what I found, and I would be willing to bet a penny right now, cash on the table. All right, that you have hip hop in your background. Plus, I heard you scratching. At cutting and scratching at I think it was Dragonfly. Yeah, it was Dragonfly one weekend. So
how that came along, right? So it's the story behind that, right? So of course I'm a North kid, right? And you know how North was back in the day. We was influenced by dance music, classics. We was, the North community was big on dance way before a lot of these cities out here in Jersey. North was like the centerpiece for even the young, as we were young, we were the young ones. So my family moves to Linden, right? Go to Linden, right? So Linden at the time wasn't like too heavy with the house music at that time. So this is where I meet Tamir Family Soul.
Gotcha.
This is where I meet Kyle Smith, Follow Me Smith, and
gotcha.
Kyle, all of them, right? That's where I meet them at. But at that time, they was heavy on scratching and DJing back then. Like, I brought this kind of I was one of the people that brought some of the house influence back there to Union County back in the 90s. And then, like I said, Kyle and Tamir, we kind of bonded well back then. Because they was the ones that understood. They was going to the city, dancing in New York. So we all vibed together with the house stuff. But I picked up a lot of my hip hop scratching because that was the vibe in Linden at the time. And I kind of, as a youth, you try everything. So yeah, a lot of people don't know. It's funny. My hip hop people that know me don't know I play house. In the house, people don't know I play hip hop. So it depends on who you are at the time.
To that point,
That's
if
so
you
cute.
saw me doing one of the events where I play for a different audience
Right.
that on the other side of the tracks, you would
Right.
never think, because I'm playing Elvis, I'm playing Sinatra,
Right.
I'm playing the Bee Gees, I'm
Right.
playing rock and roll, I'm playing
Right.
that.
That's amazing.
All
Yeah.
right. But if you saw me there, there would be no way for you to imagine that I play.
Right.
I prefer to play house.
Correct.
But I do, for the schools, schools I do hip hop, R&B,
Right.
reggaeton.
And that's just the love of music,
That's all that is. It is, So.
I mean, in a way, I don't really like too much to be stapled as a specific DJ because I like to play so much different stuff, like you said. It just happens that I play house real good, and I love house music. It's in my blood. But I like other music.
Yeah.
I like hip hop. I like R&B. I play that pretty well too.
Yeah.
Tipsy brought that out too. I was playing all kinds of stuff up in there too. I like when I can go to a venue and play both.
Right.
And be creative.
And be very creative. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
One of the skill sets. I think that's what kind of changes or makes me a little different than everyone. Is the ability to be playing both the hip hop, R&B, and soulful house stuff.
Right. Wow.
Okay.
Listen, I got to ask this question, and then I want to turn it back over to Annette. How did you get the name Soulfingers?
Right. Soulfingers. so there's it's a combination of two things.
Okay.
I had one of my deepest friends, one of my young dudes that I used to hang out right now. He's down in North Carolina tearing it up, and his name was Showtime.
Okay.
And Jordan Davis, right? So he's down there, and he used to, be underneath me a little bit. And we were in his basement one day, and I had to come up with a name. I was like, I need a name, right? But at the same time, I threw the name Soulfingers at him. He's like, oh, that's cool. But I really kind of got the idea. Now, here it is. Back in the day, I used to DJ for Bob Sumner.
Oh, okay.
Bob Sumner was, as you know, the legendary Bob Sumner, the starter of Def Jam comedy. Before he came to the Peppermint, I used to do a lot of his comedy stuff, and he introduced the name to me.
Okay. Oh, okay. I met Bob Sumner at the real estate convention, because that's my other business, in December.
Yep.
Annette, take it away.
Yeah.
So,
Every chance Bob gets, he always say, I created your name. I know, Bob. You're not going to get no money out of me. We
Thank
joke
you.
all the time about that.
one moment. Okay, so we discussed where you played. Tipsy's is one of the places you played.
Uh-huh.
Where else have you played? Where else have you DJed?
Oh, man, come on. I have DJed in every...
Just recently, you DJed with Tamir.
Right? Oh, Tamir, come on. I'm the second hand to Family Soul. Tamir's the main guy, but I'm like his second hand dude for Family Soul. And me and Tamir goes back, let me tell you. We go back to early 90s, like I said, when my boy Kyle with the Follow Me stuff was coming out. Tamir was an upcoming promoter. He got us into Zanzibar. I got to play on the Richard Long systems.
Oh, okay.
I was young. I was, barely in the 20s at that point. So when you talk about the amount of venues, I have done a lot of venues. So many venues. When I came to Tipsy, that was kind of like, I was getting a rest at that point.
Okay.
A lot of people don't even know this, and this, Dan, you might have to go into your library, right?
Okay.
I used to be the DJ for Casey Flight.
Oh, okay.
Please enlighten me. Who's Casey Flight?
He's one of our legendary house artists who kind of brought the rap into the whole house music thing. He created songs like Voices. Voices inside my head, da da da.
Okay.
I've been in the studio, and your questions kind of lead into some of the questions you're asking me.
That's
but
good.
That introduced me to like production and all that stuff back in the day. Like so, but venues, I don't know. If I had to think, I touched a lot of venues.
Where would you like to play?
Oh, what I would like to play. Here we go. Because I've been out of the country. I've done that. Well, put it like this. I've been out of the country in the Caribbean.
Okay.
If I had my choice, and this might be a retirement goal, is to play overseas. To play maybe like in the Asian hemisphere or somewhere in Africa. I know. I talk to Zandy. Like, Zandy, take me to South Africa, or over in England or something like that. That would probably be a lifetime goal. Like I said, traveling like aboard would probably be a lifetime goal.
That's a nice lifetime goal, Fingers. Nice lifetime goal. Okay. I have another question. If you were to play with anyone besides your favorite, who would it be?
My favorite? Oh, man.
Besides
one of the same questions? Outside of my favorite.
Yes, you mentioned your favorites. Let me rephrase this question. Would you, Soulfingers, give anyone a shot?
Would I give
extend your hand?
To
a younger DJ.
Younger DJ? Let me see. I just played with Just. Excellent. Amir, it's my little bro. Let me think. Young. I played with D-Boy. Like I make sure I touch the youngins,
Okay, that's good. I like that. I like the sound.
Yeah, I love that. I talk to them. I make sure they, and they need my help with anything. I'm one that they know that. I make sure I create relationships, good relationships with them.
That's important.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's important.
Definitely. Yeah, I play with. Let me see. Who's an up and coming new person coming now? I don't even know.
Dan, who's up and coming?
Well, like that I need to open my arms.
Okay, so you hit on most of them, but there's Josh. You do Josh.
Josh, I've DJ with Josh before.
He's not.
DJ with Josh before.
Right. So then you have Matt Knight, who is he's one of the newer people to the scene.
Right.
If you go, and then there's people, newer people to the scene. So there are a few more, and of course I'm going to leave somebody's name out, and I apologize in advance for that. So there's a lot of people out there. Question: Where?
I'm open. I'm open for especially the up and coming. The it's like this. In order for this music to grow, right? And this opens up a whole nother crazy comment, right? So I know that us DJs, we play a great role with bringing the youngers around, right? But this system that we call house music is consisted of a lot of different moving parts, okay? What I would like to see, right? Just like the DJs are bringing in the younger DJs to play, I think the dancers do it. The dancers bring the younger dancers to come dance, and the dancers is what drives this thing, right?
Right.
I think the promoters need to bring younger promoters along, and let them help and bring things along, It's I think when you start talking about where this thing is going and how it goes, everyone needs to embrace the younger part and introduce their craft or their profession to them so they know how to pick up where they left off. We're all getting old. Let's keep it 1,000.
Speak for yourself. Go ahead.
We're all getting 1,000. And I even tell some of the young DJs, right? Don't be so happy to play for us old folks.
Hey.
Bring 10 or 20 of your people to these parties, right? And let them feel the energy so that they can pick it up and move it forward. DJing for these older people like myself it's good. It's amazing what they do, but everyone's questioning if this thing is going to die out. Part of it is moving the youth in every part of this dance scene along with it. That would be my take on it. I just put it on the DJs.
Soulfingers, but let me ask you specifically, and you kind of may have already said it, but let me ask you specifically. So your person's been in from the door. Where do you see this thing headed? This whole house music thing. Where is it going?
So this is my take. Dance itself probably is not going nowhere, right? Nowhere. The energy that it brings, like we started off, people come and it puts everybody in a positive mode. We don't know what people gone through all week. Dance and music that we play puts them in a very positive mode, which is good. That's why I think dance is not. However, is the however part. The however part is, how do you make this monetary, where this is more money can be put into this. Until we answer that question, I think the direction is going to be more globally. The global scene and all of that is going to overwhelm everything. My opinion.
Interesting.
Can we just park on that for a minute? Actually, I'm going to be having a conversation tonight with someone about that. We talk about we're in it for the love, and you gotta be, because for most, it's not enough money to make a living, unless you're gonna live in the desert and only drink water, and that's it. No cell phone, no cable TV, no car, nothing. So it's pretty interesting, but I'm going to suggest to you is that there is money in house music. It's just not the way that most of us do it. I want you to think about this for a minute. Okay, I'm going to just share some thoughts, and I just would like to get your input, and then I want you to join in too. So
that's a very good comment. Yeah.
Okay. So here's my thoughts, all right? Just a few of them, just a few thoughts. Okay, first of all, most people into hip-hop don't make any money. Most people who are into rock and roll don't make any money. You only hear about the ones who go big. Now, if you see and look at it, okay, you have a Louis Vega who makes money. Okay, I don't know how he makes money in terms of his numbers or anything. DJ Spen makes money. But and those are just two examples. But that's what they do from morning till night. Number one. Okay, the second thing is, I think we have to find more ways to drive the value, okay, in terms of the audience. So watch this. Let me show you there's money in house music. Okay, so every year the Chosen Few, they do their thing out of Chicago.
Correct.
You don't get in free. You got to pay money.
Correct.
And they get tens of thousands of people to come out. All right.
Correct.
Okay. In Atlanta, they have a big thing every year.
Yep.
They do. So I'm saying there is money, but I'm gonna tell you somebody else who's figured it out in this area. Guy Flash. Flash packs that place every week.
Mm-hmm.
They play some other stuff. They do a lot of other things, but he's
Correct.
figured it out.
Right.
So there's money in it. It's just that for the most part, I think the way we do it, but think about this for a second. All right. If you look at the artists, they typically don't have a marketing machine in place. All right, if you think about it, because it's mostly you're making money, you're posting here and there and stuff like that, which is good. If you look at it, I don't know that we have a consistent direct effort to go after companies or makeup companies and serious marketing like merch, subscriptions, all kind of crazy stuff like that. So I think there's money in it. But I just think that our approach is more about having a good time, and that's important, than it is to sit down and like, okay, so let's talk. Soulfingers, let's sit down and talk. How are we going to monetize this thing?
Someone needs to come up with a real business model.
Right.
Thing.
That sounds good. How would they do?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean. How do you?
That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, you start questioning like, how do we get sponsors? Like, how do you who would sponsor something like that? Sometimes your own money is not important, and you can use other people's money to make this thing go forward.
Yeah, and that's part of it. That's a real big challenge there. But think about this for a minute. All right, all right. So we literally have. At any given event, let's say if you take the bigger events, you have thousands of people come out.
Correct.
So that already shows you that there's an interest in what we're doing. All right.
Correct.
And think about this. I did an informal survey a few years back, and I found out, not you guys and not me, but the average person's in their 50s. All right, and they make at least $50,000 a year. The average person. I'm not saying there's a lot of people who make way. But I'm saying there's some people like, a couple $100 grand like you understand. So anyway, but they're not necessarily broke. But watch this. When they come there, most of them drove there. You don't see any car companies there. All right? If you drive, even if your car is paid off, no insurance. You still got to have insurance. No insurance companies there.
Right.
Okay, think about this. We have banking accounts, no bankers. no.
Hey.
I mean, many of us took a Lyft or an Uber. Where are these people? Depending on the event, they fly in. Right. And we're the airlines and the hotels. So I'm just saying, we got a population that's spending money, and we're really not getting in front of the people who could sponsor us and making our case. That's been my thought. I've said that for years, but that's my thought. Anyway.
Right.
Well, that sounds like our next show.
Okay. Okay, we got to talk how to make money in house music, right?
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic. I'm telling you,
It is.
When you start getting into
make that money.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, but I think everything that we mentioned today is the piece to the soup.
Right.
That all got to be stirred correctly for this thing to work. I don't think it's one answer.
Right.
Where I'm going with this.
Totally agree.
High temperature.
Right. Exactly. So, it got to be a governance that looks over all of this and stir this soup up with all the different things, and you will see a tremendous movement to where we need to go.
Right.
I don't think it's one answer. Though.
Right. I agree with you. I'm sorry. I got excited for a minute. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I said I agree with what Finger said. I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
But we love it. We love it.
And that's what keeps us showing up.
Yeah.
That's what keeps us showing up. And then, too, I think, too, we make relationships. We meet people that we are excited to see. You know, when I was out Saturday, I connected with some people I hadn't seen since since it was warm outside last year.
It definitely connects us.
It's all good.
It connects us, and you know how it is. You know,
so.
Summer's here. The summer's here. We're outside. you know. It brings a lot. It brings that connection back. It's a great feeling.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The festivals that we go to, the ones we work, to see. These peaceful events. How about that, right?
Yes.
Peaceful, peaceful events of us, our sisters and brothers out there having a great time, man. That's love, and that's what this music does.
Yes.
And that's why, we want to make money, but sometimes that part of it was what keeps this thing moving.
Oh, definitely.
My opinion,
Definitely.
Not, they say I look young, but I'm kind of old. But
well,
I drink a lot of water and Hennessy. Water and Hennessy is the fountain of youth.
I drink a lot of water.
Well, that's like the old joke. The guy was like 80 years old, and this guy's like he's. And this journalist asked, he says, I'm gonna call him Billy Bob. Say, Billy Bob, she says, what's the secret to long life and longevity? He said, I don't know, but if I knew I was gonna live this long, I wouldn't have been doing all that smoking and drinking and run. Anyway, so it does. It keeps you there. I had another thing too that I just wanted to run by you. You do a lot of promotional events, and people come out to you and Tamir do a lot of stuff together, and people come out. So you guys have kind of captured the formula also in terms of your events. Why do so many people come and go in terms of this thing? And was it always you guys were packing the place and just as
we had everybody have ups and downs and lessons learned as you do this journey. But Tamir, when we sit down and we talk about things, at the end of the day, we want to put out a quality product, man. And people remember that, right?
Gotcha.
I mean, Tamir's crazy with it. I'm he could get crazy with it. He's very, picky, the lights, the sound. He's very into the sound. Like the sound is what drives the music and get into people's soul. Then you got me playing, making sure you bouncing upside and down. So it's a simple formula, but you got to stick to it. And people, like every brand, right? You as good as your last party, right? And you just keep the consistent. You listen. That's another thing too. You listen to people, right? You get feedback. You tune it, over the years, and that's what people remember. They know, sometimes I tell Tom all the time, it got to be the party, the name of the brand that brings people out, not the DJ, because once you hear the name, we don't care who the DJ is, even though good DJs help it,
right?
But brand is what drives the party. If you look at, just look at some of the infamous, famous parties of, the Shelter.
Right. Right.
You look at, all the other stuff that goes on. It's the brand. The brand has to represent quality.
Right.
And people will love to support that.
Right.
And here's me, good customer service, right? Simple customer service. You make sure you support other people's parties, you shake hands, you kiss babies, you do everything so that, that people love you. Remember the event, good customer service, people appreciate.
Right.
Yes,
absolutely. Absolutely.
100%.
Hold it.
Even with me with the DJs, I'm cool with all the DJs, right? I'm a DJ, right? They call me, I call them from the big ones all the way down to the bottom ones. You know, I keep everybody, you know, what's up? What you need? Boom, boom, boom. Let's work together. Even though, here's the crazy part, Dan. DJing is competitive.
Yes.
And we wanna bust everybody that we DJ against.
Yes.
It's no difference than me playing basketball with my friends and I want to put 20 points on them.
Yes.
The DJ game is the same way, right? I want to be better than the one before and the one coming up.
Yes.
But I try to keep it, okay, I bust you up, but we still cool, right?
Yes.
Or they did better than me. I'm still, you got that off, you know? But you know how the game is, but over the years, you know, you keep that positive energy among us. Ain't competitive. We could talk shit all we want, you know, but we could walk away and this thing's still a wonderful thing, right?
Right. I tell you, it's so funny you said that. Well, you know, too, so if you're playing basketball, people talk slick talk because, you know, that's head of competition, so to speak. If you're playing tennis or whatever the sport is, it's, you know, I'm that guy. But in DJing, you secretly want to bust that guy in front of you and back. You don't always come out and say, listen, let me tell you something. I'm going to lay you out. You know, I'm that guy. Matter of fact, you should.
I'd be selective with some of them. Some of them you can take it as they take it as a threat sometimes.
Yeah,
you know, you can talk shit to some of your friends.
Yeah. That's different. But I'm just.
I hope you're ready to come. You playing with me?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Dan, you have heard me on many occasions. I hope you play with me this week. Oh, you better be ready. You know, it's all part of, you know. But I do it out of fun.
No. We know. But
Dan, you'll be the first one to know. Somebody call me out on some negative stuff. We need to bring it live on here, man. I'm gonna talk so much shit. You know, they don't want to get too serious with me. You know, I keep it all fun and games, Dan.
Yeah.
We're light over here. We're light over here. We're light.
Exactly. I keep it fun and games, but you know how it is. I hear the stories though, Dan. I know you do.
Yeah,
you know, this DJ don't like this DJ.
Yeah. Now that
they about to fight. I'm like, wow.
That's another show.
Yeah, that's another story.
I hear that.
It's wild. No, I'm not. Soulfingers don't. You know, I'm in my own little lane over here.
Well.
And to be honest, I don't think they want my smoke anyway. So.
You, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that?
It's not. Y'all heard it here live on GS Radio.
Yeah. Now, you know what else too is interesting, is that you know, a lot of people say this over and over and over again, and just wanted to know what your thoughts. So you know, I'm the unusual suspect. And that all came out of fun because of a lot of events. Because you know what? As you know, doing this, I talk to a lot of DJs. And a lot of DJs believe that other people need to put them on. And sometimes they believe they don't put them on because they're too big of a threat. You know, they don't want that smoke.
Wow.
I mean, because you know, again, because of what I'm doing with the interviews, I hear it all the time.
Yeah, you do.
And
I know you do.
My thought has always been, you know, would I like to play? Of course I will. But, you know, my thought has always been, and you just tell me what you think, and I guess we can move on after this, is that, you know, I mean, people are spending their money, their time, their energy, etc. They got a right to put on who they want to put on. And if you're not happy about the lineup, create your own lineup. Now, sometimes people don't want to hear that. But that's been my approach. Would I like to play more? Yeah, of course I would. But again, I respect that whoever spends the time, the energy, the money, the promoter, has the right. Now, Tamir put me on. Going back when you first started up the Friday evening things.
Right.
Appreciate that. So that, to me, that said, well, he's looking beyond the usual suspects. Now.
Correct.
when I say the usual suspects, I say that with love, because you don't become one of the usual suspects unless you got the goods and you can pull.
Right.
Those are my thoughts. Anyway, any thoughts on that?
No, there's some value behind that. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Well,
but let me but think of the logistics though. Look at let's take it logistical for a second. There's only X amount of promoters. There's only X amount of event spaces. But there's hundreds of DJs.
Right.
I don't think it's balanced properly for people to, or other DJs to get the spotlight like they should.
Okay.
I think there's a logistical part to this.
Certainly.
You know what I'm saying? There's good DJs that we haven't even heard of that don't get to shine. You know, all of the above. But I think logistically, it's just not enough events like it used to be. It's just not enough promoters logistically to put everybody on.
Okay.
How about that? I'm just taking.
Okay.
I'm adding my little Lori salt to that.
Okay.
It's a numbers game.
All right.
Not
So go ahead. Okay. I just piggyback on that for a minute, and just hearing your thoughts, and then I just want to get some thoughts from Annette. Okay. So again, when you bring on the usual suspects, you know you're going to have a certain quality. You know they're going to pull in terms of people are going to come out. You know you're going to get a quality performance. You're going to, the brand is going to be represented well. So from your perspective, what do you say to someone who wants to get on, has the goods, maybe can't pull, like I mean, what would be your advice as a person who's experienced in this, as a person who helps pick DJs for events, as a person who's been promoting you and Tamir for years and years and years? What do you tell a person that wants to get on?
Right, with today, what I didn't have, right? So the ability to stream your stuff and self-promote your stuff helps, right? I think, here we go like anything else. You need to rub elbows sometimes with the promoters. You know, you need to, create your own, type of communication line to the people that's giving and stay focused on that. Then there's let me create my own lane where I look for my own spot. See the problem with that, and I want to bring this a little bit of this in. What we had back then versus what we have now is a little different, because the people that owns the parties and owns the venue really don't support the music. All they think about is the money.
Gotcha.
So you as a promoter, you coming in, you got a nice spot, but it's about numbers at that point.
Right.
It's about numbers. So you can't play around with little man coming, little sis coming up that ain't pulling the numbers, because you got to prove to the owners that you can bring the money in.
Gotcha.
That's a problem.
Right.
So if it was more owners and more venues, which I keep going back to, that believed in the music and not stress the promoters to kick out all this money, I need this, I need that. The promoters is not put in a bond that they got to bring top dogs in to meet the numbers.
Got you.
That's another aspect to all this craziness, that you got to keep in mind. That's why it's hard for new ones to come along, because they don't really got a follow, but the promoters are struggling with giving a good party because they dealing with the owners.
Right, got you.
The owners of these clubs and these venues don't give a shit about nothing but, I just need the money on my bar. And then even with dance music, you already know the liquor thing is like questionable too.
Right.
So they don't come in there, not buying bottles and stuff like the stuff do. So,
right.
So we're stuck at free house music events in the summer.
Got you.
Which was love. Well,
Nat, you want to jump in? Yeah.
I'd like to ask you, what is the next event that you have coming up, Soulfingers?
What events I got? Soul, of course. Family Soul. We're going through May. Going through May with our, like Dan said, he was one of the first one who was part of this. Every Friday at Central Park. I'm going.
That's where you'll be next.
Excuse me.
That's where you'll be next, Central
Oh
Park.
yeah, that's every Friday. Every Friday at Central Park in Roselle. Then I'm in Rawway. Kick off their Rawway thing. And May 25th, one of their outside events. I'm doing that. I'm part of the Linden thing with Timmy Regisford and Spinner and all of that. That's June 28th. I'm always part of Ricky Clark's Jersey City outside event. That's in sometime in September or October. So I'm always at Muggs Pub, where I'm there every Saturday during the day, is my reminding of Tipsy's.
Really? Where's Muggs?
Muggs is in Irvington. That's where Soulful must be. Soulful Messiah, Mustafa, Ricky Clark, Young Fresh. You know, we all DJ there once a day. But it's not a like your typical, I'm gonna go there and get my dance on. It's more loungy, more drinking, but you get the best music in town.
You can get a two-step in though, right?
You can definitely get two-step.
And a 1. And a 2. Wait a minute, hold on, I lost count.
Get a couple two-steps in there. You know?
Okay.
So, yeah, so I'm busy. I'm definitely busy. Plus maintain a full-time job. How about that?
Okay.
How about that? You have to do that.
Yeah.
That's
But
right.
I love both. So.
Yeah.
Can you let us know how people can get in touch with you?
Yes. So of course, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok under Warren, my government. Soulfingers. Sharp.
That's
Thank you.
with an E on the end or
E. Yeah, E at the end.
okay.
Sharp. With E, silent E.
Sharpie pen.
Okay. Any final thoughts as we close this out? Anything?
Yeah, I think this was good. You guys touched on a lot of stuff.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Always. Always with Dan. I think, Dan, this might be my third. This is my first solo.
Right. But you've run 2 other times.
Always been part of somebody else's stand.
Yeah.
They bring me in as their, as they hype man. They bring me in as they hype man. But this is my first. And me and Dan were supposed to hook up so many different times.
I know.
We were like, you gotta come up with that. It's all good. It's all love.
Yeah.
Support you guys.
Well, listen. Hey, I want to just thank you for coming on. We finally connected. The last time we threatened to get to connect was when we were in the when they were doing a Tuesday thing, maybe 2 years back or something like whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then prior to that, we talked about doing it. But the first time we got together, you all came on with Tamir.
Right.
And then the second time was when we had Ricky Clark, and then Ricky's going to start up this stuff too, huh?
Exactly. That was good.
Yeah. And Ricky's going to start up pretty soon with that. I think.
He just started with his stuff, his Mondays thing.
Yeah. So he's starting up with that. So by the way, just so you know, going back. Okay, let me just share my Ricky Clark story here, just real quick. And for those of you who heard it before, act like it's the first time you ever heard it, okay? All right. So two Ricky Clark stories. Okay, so number one is, I was saying get ready. That's been my thing. But I would do it, but it wasn't really a thing. It was just, whatever. Right. So I met Ricky Clark at the, when Dawood did that House the Runway thing in Hillside. Right.
I remember that. I was there.
Yeah. And so he ran. He says, Dan, he said, I see big things for you. I said, okay, whatever you say. Okay. And this is like, way towards the beginning, maybe second year or whatever. So he said 3 things that I never forget. He said, number one, because I was saying get ready. He said, listen, Dan, you ought to make that a thing, as your signature thing. So he was
Right.
the one. I was just doing it like randomly. But
Right.
he says, you know, you need to go hard with that. And now, to this day, when people see me, they go, get ready, get ready, get ready. All right.
That's right, Dan.
That's
That's
right.
your thing.
But he was the one who said that to me.
Yeah.
Okay. The second thing
yeah.
he said to me,
Yeah.
he said,
yeah, that's it.
is that you know, this part, I was there once, but it was just a one-shot deal. He says, you know, you need to go on AM radio and do this and work your way up. So I did have one time that I did something, and I was, thanks to Lionel Leach, but, I never really got that going. But the third thing he said to me, I think might have been the most important thing. He said, Dan, listen. He said, you make it. He said, I see you making it big. I said, okay, if you say so. But he says, are you going to bring on, people who are, coming up, or are you just going to go after big people? And I says, I had, I always thought that I was going to bring in different people. But
Right.
sometimes when people say things to you, they crystallize your thinking. And
Right.
He says,
No
I
doubt.
says, no, absolutely. So I've made it part of my deal is
Right.
not to go just for, because I've had some pretty big names, Lynn Lockamy,
Right.
DJ Span, I have people like that. But I also
Right.
want to bring on, like we brought just the DJ on. Charles
Right.
Dickinson's mentioned to him to me when he was like kind of breaking the surface, so to speak, and not
Right,
the goods, but so anyway, I remember those things he said, Ricky Clark. Now I know he's got the thing starting up on Mondays, and I know you
Right.
work with him a lot on that stuff too, in terms of that. So
Right, yeah, Ricky's my bro. He always has some good ideas.
yeah. So
He amazes me some of the stuff he tells me. I was like, well, yeah.
yeah. But you know what? Again, to me, you're one of those amazing people too.
No, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Forget about it.
Thank
I mean, listen, you got to hear him play if you haven't, but you got to hear him play. Talk to God about it. Whew.
Yeah.
Whew.
And I don't play it that much no more. I, got
I
some
know,
other stuff,
things go and
but
come and go.
That is my people remember me by
Oh,
playing
definitely,
that song.
definitely.
And I like that song. That thing gets
Oh,
me
yeah.
going.
Whew. Yeah.
I think you should play it Friday. I think you should play it Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Uh-huh. Look at that.
I might.
Wow.
I gotta.
Wow.
I roll with the punches. I like it. I love it.
Yes. Well, listen. Hey, Soulfingers, just want to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. It's been a
It's my
joy and a
pleasure.
pleasure for me. Yeah, we can do it again. Anyway, all right then. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, just want to thank my co-host here, Annette, for coming on and sharing with us also and getting her input. Right now, we're going to go into the Shazam free zone. We're going to play nothing but brand new music. I have new stuff from Vanessa L. Smith, and she does this track with Precious James called Whenever. I got new stuff from King T Finesse called Paradise, Moon Blue. I got new stuff from Zaylin called Circles. And I got new stuff from, yeah. And there's somebody, I know I'm forgetting it, but I wrote it down. We're going to play that stuff too. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation, coming to you live from the 8th floor. I am the unusual suspect. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Ciao. Anytime you're ready. We're leading off here with Vanessa